All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try both maneuvers again, just in case, because I still had it tuned to Falcon Tower, Mesa's Tower, and so it's really, I don't know how this audio is going to work, and so I want to do this with, I tuned to a quiet frequency so that it would just be me talking. So let's first do a approach stall or a power off stall. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing my clearing turns right now. There is a large jet above us, but it's well above us, and it's in the Class B airspace. We are below the Class B airspace right now at 5,500 feet. Excuse me. So I'm just visually looking for traffic. Again, the process to do this, you have to kind of just learn over time. It's you kind of leave your eyes lazy and you're not focusing on any one thing. You're just like checking sectors, looking for movement. And your rods and your eyeball will pick up movement much better than the cones in the center of your, I don't know, your eyeball. And so your cones pick up color, your rods pick up light, and absence of light, which means motion. Anyway, there's no traffic out here. So I'm going to turn back toward this mountain peak. It's a good reference. And we're going to set the plane up as though we are landing. So I'm going to start adding flaps. We're at 80 knots within the white arc. So there's 1 notch of flaps. We have our fuel pump off, but our mixture is rich. Our auxiliary fuel pump is off right now. And some places will have you turn that on during maneuvers, but the checklist doesn't have it. So anyway, 2nd notch of flaps. We're at 80 knots. So the idea is we're going to get to around 75 knots, which would be like our final approach speed. Full flaps. We'll cut the throttle and then start pulling back to stall the airplane. There it is. Our final approach speed. Let's start pulling back. There's our horn. There's buffeting. Full power. Let the nose drop. Just release the back pressure. There's a little bit of a secondary stall. You don't want that, but it happens sometimes. We're maintaining altitude. Got full power set. You want to see a slight positive rate of climb. We're gaining a little bit, so we're going to drop our full flaps. Give it a second to increase airspeed. Airspeed's looking good. We're climbing at about 100 feet per minute. But we're going to drop the 2nd notch of flaps. Again, you don't want to lose any altitude here. We're at our VY speed, so flaps retracted, maneuver's complete. So let's do that again, because as you notice there, the horn went off. Now, it wasn't a secondary stall. The stall warning, a secondary stall would be bad, but the stall warning is meant to notify you in advance of an actual stall. So what happened is we released the back pressure, added full power, and I'm going to do a turn back to the left now. Always want to look for airplanes maybe coming up behind you. Anyway, so you heard the stall warning come on a second time, and that told me to kind of release my pullback just a little bit, so that we didn't get close to a secondary stall. But again, the stall warning is a couple of knots in advance of an actual full stall of the wing. All right, we're back at 5,500. Let's get turned back toward the west. We're still clear of traffic, so let's start slowing it down. We're in the white arc, so we're going to add our 1st notch of flaps. All right, speed's coming down. There goes 80 knots. 2nd notch of flaps. And 3rd notch of flaps. 5,500. Throttle cut. Pull back. Bug stall warning. Let it go. Full power. Now start. Right rudder. Sync rate's been arrested. We're climbing now slowly. So we'll pull back 1 notch of flaps. Give it a second to increase in speed. You don't want to dump them all at one time, is basically what we're doing here. Second notch, back in. Climbing. 75. Let's get it a little bit higher to our VY. There's VY. We're climbing about 200 feet per minute, and the flaps are up. The maneuver's complete at this point. That was a lot better in my opinion. I didn't have that secondary blurb from the stall horn. Although in both cases, the plane didn't go below 100 feet from the starting altitude, so it would have been a successful maneuver. So let's do a departure stall, and then we'll head back in. So departure stall or a power on stall is simulating what happens on takeoff. So you'll be in the takeoff configuration, which means flaps are up. What we'll do is we will slow the airplane down to just above the rotation speed, and it will add full power, at which point, when you're at low air speeds and high angles of attack, and adding full power is where you really got to be on the rudder, because it's the regime in which the airplane tends to react most to torque, P factor, and can roll the plane seriously to the left. And if you're already trying to get the airplane stalled, you could get into a situation where you spin the plane. Very, very rare. Most airplanes are designed to avoid spins unless you do some crazy shit. Unless you're an aerobatic aircraft, which are made to more easily spin. Anyway, so we've got our landmark out in front of us, this peak we've been using. We've cleared for traffic, looks good. So flaps are up, mixture's rich, and we're going to slow it down. We're going to get down to our rotation speed. We're at about 5,400, starting the maneuver. And slow it down. There is our rotations, full power. Right rudder, release back pressure to break the stall. That's it. We're climbing. Just hold it. 70 knots. 75, there's BX. And we got a good climb going now. Balls in the center. 80 knots. And we're at 5,500 feet. So that was good. Maneuver's complete. Let's do one steep turn to the left. Maybe I'll do a steep turn to the left and then immediately go into a steep turn to the right. That's usually the way the DPs like you to do it. And your instructors are likely to have you do it that way too. So let's get below maneuvering speed, which we're well below. And let's just do one more traffic scan. It's getting dark, so there's probably not many people out in this particular practice area. I think that's the Gila River down there. All right, cool. It looks like we're clear of traffic still. What I'm going to use as my starting reference point is basically the setting sun. And I'm going to turn the heading dial to this heading, which is about 240, and slow down a little bit. We're about 98 knots, and then we're going to start the steep turn to the left. We're starting at 5,500 feet, and let me close this just in case I don't want my phone to fall out. And here we go, steep turn to the left. We'll do 45 degrees of bank. Pop the throttle in a little bit, and then pull it back so you don't climb too much. And then just start pulling the plane through. We're doing a little bit of climb, so we'll come back on that throttle. We're about 50 feet up. We're coming up on our landmark. We'll turn the plane back to the right. Go to the right. .45 degrees of bank. You want to feel a little bit of G's, not too many G's. Pull back throttle a little bit. We got it locked in here. Looking good. There's our landmark. We're gonna roll out on it. Should be able to pop here. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. That's one that lets you know you're doing it right. When you go across your wake at the end of a steep turn, it means you're right at the right altitude and you did it correctly. So anyway, once again, bouncing over your wake is a kind of a light bulb moment for a student pilot because you are actually experiencing these abstract concepts of wake turbulence and vortices and induced drag, which creates wake, which is invisible, right? It's air, so you can't see it. So when you do something like that, you pop over your own wake, it's an eye-opening moment. You finally are putting these things together and like, oh, wow, these things really do exist. Just like a jet ski going across its own wake. So anyway, we got like a beautiful little sunset happening out here. I'm going to turn the airplane toward it, get that on the GoPro, which I think is still working. It's just really beautiful out there, man. I was going to say I was going to simulate an engine out, but like, I mean, I'm the pilot right now, so like, but what would you do? Let's do it. Right, so we'll cut the throttle. First thing you do, hit best glide speed. Memorize best glide speed. There it is. It's 80 knots in this airplane. So, and you hold it. So you're watching your airspeed. The reason it is so important is because this is going to give you the maximum amount of horizontal distance. And obviously the engine's still on, right? But it's at idle. So what I'm doing now is, in my opinion, I want to look for a place to land. But you could try to restart the airplane, but I want to make sure I got a place to ditch just in case. So what I got down here is I got a nice like riverbed. So we are going to stay over it. So I'm going to do kind of like S turns to make sure I stay over this stretch of river bed. It's a river bed, which is perfect. This is flat, sandy. There's probably not going to be any power lines out there. There are no cars, right? I'm not being a fucking idiot and trying to land on a highway or a road because I saw it in Flight Simulator or some dumb. You saw I'm sorry, but I'm going to go off a little bit here. I'm still at 80 knots, my best glide. What I would be doing instead of about dumb pilots at this point emergency landing on roads and killing motorists and themselves is what you would want to do is be trying to restart the engine, right? Switching to fuel tanks, make sure, try different fuel tanks, try the auxiliary fuel pump, maintain your best glide, right? The whole time. And we're just doing a gentle circle over this riverbed because I want to keep it underneath me so that if I can't get this engine restarted, I got a place I can ditch the plane in where I'm not going to hurt anyone else, any motorists that don't know that I'm there or coming in for them, right? Anyway, don't emergency land on roads unless you have absolutely no other option. No field. I'm bumping the throttle just to make sure it doesn't get too gumped up when it's at idle. Yeah. So let's just pretend we're switching fuel tanks here. Still got my riverbed underneath me. I'm going to do a turn back to the left here so that you can maybe see the riverbed right there. So it's flat and it's empty, doesn't have any water in it. But, you know, even in the event it had water in it, try to land like if there's a little beach on the side, right? Don't land on the road, okay? There are people down there. They don't know you're coming, right? There are other things like power lines, concrete barriers, like that. Don't emergency land on a road unless you have absolutely no other choice. Okay, so Still at best glide, 80 knots. And let's say I can't get it started. But as you're going to see in the GoPro, we have a perfectly nice riverbed out in front of us. And 82, we could do a little forward slip to get down because it looks like there's some construction equipment down there further down. But if we needed to, we could ditch in this thing. Maneuver's complete. I'm going to add full power back in. We're going to head back home. To get my headlamp out. Just an absolutely beautiful sunset up here. A couple things with this airplane I'm going to have to squawk about. So anyway, I'm going to get set up to land. I'll turn this back on in just a second. I'll have my headlamp on. All right, here we go. We're heading back. I'm going to tune into the ATIS so we can contact tower and let them know we got ATIS.
24.6, advise an initial contact to Charlie.
It's still Charlie. So we still got it from earlier. I'm going to give
airport information, Charlie 2354 Zulu, wind 030 at 5, temperature 19er, altimeter 29er, 5. Visual approach and use, landing and departing runway 4 right and 4 left. Start their mission with multiple trains via Falcon, check FTC nota, which minimum tab change. UAS activity in the vicinity of Falcon at or below 400 feet AGL. Use caution, not standard shoulder markings, calculate Alpha Charlie.
Okay, cool. So it's the same thing. We are going to turn that off.
Charlie.
And we're going to contact the tower. We're about 10 miles to the northeast. We're going to let them know we have Charlie and that we're inbound to land.
By clear to land, Oscar 2583. Fifth and out Mike, right turn at southbound approved. Right turn southbound approved, our way.
Falcon Tower, Warrior 15402, approximately 9 miles northeast, about 4,000. Information Charlie to land.
15402 Falcon Tower, Roger, taking your location.
We were 9 miles to the northeast and 4,100.
15402 Falcon Tower, Roger. I have a primary target up there. I think it's you, but appears your transponder is inoperative. When able, recycle. Make left traffic, right 4 left.
Good call. Just recycle transponder and let me know if you got it. 15402. And we'll enter the downwind for runway 4 left for 15402. We are parked on the north side.
4402, Roger, thank you. And yeah, looks like the computer's working out for your operative. Altitude indicates 4,200.
15402. So, transponder got knocked off at some point to standby mode. So they had us on primary radar, which is awesome. That's like old school radar where they like send out a beam and it reflects back. But secondary radar is what the transponder squawks on, and somehow it got set to standby. So it's on altitude reporting now, and they have us, and they gave us permission to enter a downwind for runway 4 left. That's what we're doing. Really brilliant sunset. out in front of us. So, Falcon Field is at, 400 MSL. The pattern altitude is 1400 MSL. So we're descending toward that. So let's do a landing checklist. Or an approach checklist. Go ahead. Yeah. Trainer airplanes, things are very, very simple, usually. Got the ATIS, our altimeter is set, it hasn't changed. Mixture is set. Got it full ridge. Fuel selector, I'm gonna stay on this right tank.
Central aircraft information Delta is not current when you call Falcon 290 left 7.
Of information just changed. I'm gonna reset our altimeter to 2997.
Field over from the city jail. Non-standard total markings on taxiways Alpha and Charlie. All arrivals contact tower on 124.6. Passengers contact you have Delta. Falcon Appropriation Delta time 00542 when on temperature 19.90 temperature 2997. Visual collections from parallel 4 left and 4 right. The results within security Falcon Field 250 7 approach minimum change US activating the thing with Falcon Field at over 4 to city jail. Non-standard total markings on taxiways Alpha and Charlie.
583.
All arrivals contact tower on 124.6.
Not much to say. Jump to the ramp, Oxford. Have a good night. TFAC seatbelts on, they haven't changed. Briefing, they're going to try to land. If something happens on final, we're going to try to land. That's the briefing. I'm being a little bit of a smart ass, but yeah. You're in a commercial setting. To make sure your passengers are buckled up, and you should have already advised them before taking off of how to operate the door, how to get out of the airplane, what to expect in different situations, where a fire extinguisher is, that kind of stuff. Turn the fuel pump on, the auxiliary fuel pump. Landing lights already on, I had it doing maneuvers. Fuel's on the fullest tank. And we'll set our flaps when we get into the pattern here. So, I think... Yeah, it's my bad. I'm looking at
402, number 1, right 4 left, clear to land.
We're number 1, 4 left, clear to land, Warrior 15402. So Falcon Field's elevation is 1,400 MSL. Just double check the map. The pattern altitude is 2,400, which are about 100 feet above. So we'll do 2,400. You always want to check if the ground is coming up really fast. Check the map. Okay, so got the runway out here to our left, our front left. We're at pattern altitude. Plane is partially set up to land. We're going to start putting in flaps here in a second. Alright, we're in the white arc. First notch of flaps. And we'll start our descent out of the pattern altitude. We're a midfield, which is a point where you usually want to chop your throttle, start descending. Maybe not chop it, but bring it back till you start descent. The way I do it is I try to descend to when I see the threshold of the runway at about a 40 to 45 degree angle out of this back window. So we'll watch for that. Which is at the point at which you want to make your face turn. So there's the runway. Maybe hard to see on this camera, but I see it. There's about 30, about 35 degrees, 40, 45 degrees, 80 knots. I want to bump the throttle up a little bit. Gentle turn. At the second notch of flaps, pull the throttle back. A little bit of throttle. Kind of rounding out the final, face the final here. Dangerous turn, so very, very gentle on it. A red and a white light, which is what you like to see. That means you're on your glide slope. We can stay on it. I'll add this final notch of flaps. No, I'm going to leave it at 2 notches of flaps. A bit of a level here. Final approach speed. Little bit of trim. Don't have to pull back too much. Start pulling your flaps in. Aerodynamic braking. And we'll take 4 here off of the runway.
Checky 402, Echo 4, Echo to the ramp, monitor ground, good night.
Echo 4, Echo to the ramp, monitor ground. Warrior 15402, thank you. So we're just supposed to monitor ground, we don't have to call them. Where the hell am I? Oh. I know where I am now. But yeah. Not too bad. Not the greatest. Not the worst. Somewhere in between. But yeah, I'm going to taxi this thing in. I'm going to call a fuel truck, pay a bunch of money, have this thing fueled, secure the airplane, turn everything off, and then pay the people that own the airplane, that kind of stuff. But that was fun. We'll have to do this